Good morning. I'm Michelle, and welcome to the very first episode of Geared to Make, a podcast about making, primarily knitting, but some sewing and quilting thrown in, perhaps some photography, basically anything that I can dream up and carry out. So, nice to see you. It's early Monday morning. It is August 29th. So, I am a full time community college librarian and I live in northern Illinois, very close to the Wisconsin border. So, I'm sure as this podcast goes on, I'll be sharing various points of interest in and around my area. So, let's get started today. Let's talk about what I have on my needles. I had a very productive summer. I finished several projects, which I'll show you. And on my needles right now is the Anavest. This is a pattern by Karen Templer. She is of the Fringe Association and Fringe Supply Company. And she did this pattern for Tolt Yarn and Wool, their farm to needle book, which if you haven't had an opportunity to take a look at it, it's a collection of stories from shepherds and wool production folks, people who are trying to make sustainable wool products. There are designers in there, and their stories are very inspirational. I highly recommend it. And the pattern can be found in there. So I am knitting this in, what am I knitting this in? Yarn on the House, Yacht, their father worsted weight. And the color is a little dark. Let's see. The color is caviar. It's more of a charcoal color. I think it's showing up more blue here, but it's more of a charcoal rich caviar color. And I really am loving this. This is the back. It has some dog hair on it. This is the back. So I'm getting pretty close to having this done. This has to be 10 inches from the armhole to the top, which I might be there. I'm gonna have to measure that. So that's what I'm currently working on. My needles are a size 7 carbons. I love these. These are interchangeables. I find that with the carbons, I really do get a good gauge quality. So I'm working on that right now, and it's a lot of fun, and I've been watching Stranger Things, which if you have Netflix, totally give it a try. It is filmed, it takes place in the 80s. I believe it's filmed in Indiana. I could be wrong about that. But I can't tell you anything more because I don't want to give anything away, but it's absolutely fabulous. And take the time to watch it. Grab a couple of family members and make it a popcorn movie night. There's 8 or 10 episodes. We watched it over the past week and a half. And once everybody got home and did homework and various house chores, it was all we could do just not to watch like 2 or 3 at a time. So I highly recommend it. I do think it's family oriented. So take a peek. So that's what's on my needles. What have I finished? What kind of finished objects do I have? So like I said, the summer was very productive. I didn't take any. I'm trying to take some web design classes, so I didn't take any this summer. So I had a little bit more free time than I usually do, and I finished these. And look, they're all ready for Halloween. These are just a basic toe-up sock. I did rounded toes on these, and the yarn is from the Cozy Knitter. She has an Etsy shop, and the color is called Ghoulish. And the pattern is my own. It's in my Ravelry store for free. That particular pattern is made for a heavier weight fingering sock. So this one is a lighter weight fingering weight. So I'll be updating that pattern. I'll put a version 2 up. But I can't wait. I can't wait to wear them. In the fall, they're not going to be too hot because, in the fall, it's usually still in the 70s and 80s sometimes. So they're all done. I'm really excited. So I finished those. I also finished my Veronic Avery pattern called Wake. It's in a Brooklyn Tweed collection. And I'll show this, but I'll put in some better pictures for you to see too. So this was a joy. And just so you know, I do work full time. So my production levels I'm not as speedy as I could be. So this particular sweater, I think, took me about 10 months to make. And I actually had it finished, I think, in May or June. But I wanted time to really sit down and block it and seam it together well. And so I did that this summer when I was on vacation. And I'm really pleased with how the seaming turned out. It's actually put together. There's a front panel with the cables, and then the back actually wraps around. So I was really pleased with my seaming right here. This is made out of Brooklyn Tweed Loft in the Tent colorway, and I highly recommend making a gauge swatch and blocking it because it really changed the yarn. It was nice before blocking, but it became much softer after blocking. So I highly recommend to take your time and block. And so I can't wait to wear it. It's too hot to put it on today, but there you go. Next up on my needles, finished object, FO, is the Tales from the Isle of Perback. And this is an Annie Rowden pattern. Let me make sure I have that right. I have to get my notes here. I wanted to make sure I had everything in place. Yep, Annie Rowden. This was a clue-oriented pattern, which I missed the knit along for that. I made it out of Hole & Sons wool and worsted weight. And it's really quite large. I won't be able to get the whole thing in here. But I can't wait to wear it. And this is blocked. And the thing I love about the blocking is it still retains a lot of its texture. I didn't stretch it to its full capacity, so it still has like these lovely little bumps in it. So this is a new wardrobe staple. So look, I got like 3 new wardrobe items. I'm so excited. So that was that. Is that it? Yes, it is. So what have I been doing this summer? Well, knitting wise, I went to Stitches Midwest with my friend Joe. Hi, Joe. And we had a fabulous time. We visited many of the booths, but 2 that stuck out, or 2 that I want to mention. One was Wool and Honey. This is a knitting store in Cedar, Michigan, run by Melissa and her sister. Hi, Melissa. And whenever we go to Michigan, it is my favorite place to stop. And that's actually where I got the yarn for my Anavest, the Yacht yarn on the house, the father caviar color, still showing kind of blue. Anyway, she has a wonderful selection of yarn. So if you're ever in the Cedar, Michigan area, stop by, say hi. I also Joe and I also stopped at the Stephen B. booth out of Minnesota, and it was the largest collection of hedgehog fibers I have ever seen in one place. So we probably spent a lot of time there. I know we spent a lot of time there. So at that booth, Joe and I had made a pact that I wasn't going to allow her to buy any lace weight yarn, and she wasn't going to let me buy any sock weight yarn. And guess what happened? We both bought lace and sock weight yarn. So I bought hedgehog fibers. This is this is showing up really well. This is the Film Noir color. And I also bought Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Void colorway, which is showing up. It's really kind of a beigey, not blue color. So I bought those two things. Joe bought some things as well. The customer service at the Stephen B. booth was exceptional. We had a really good time, so that was our buddy event. I also have been looking forward to what I'm going to be making next. So I'm not sure if I'm like you or not, but when I knit, I'm always thinking about, what's coming up, what can I knit next? And I will say the Anavest is keeping my interest. I usually don't work too much with worsted weight yarns, and so this one's going pretty fast. So I think I'm going to be able to move on to another project soon. My sister's always laughing at me because I usually have 2 or 3 projects going at once. Surprisingly, I only have the Anavest on my needles right now. So we'll see how long that lasts. My cousin Sarah, hi Sarah, is pregnant and she's due in November. So at some point I'm going to have to start knitting her baby item. And I will say I used to be a knitter who knit for other people, gave away a lot of things. And I have decided that I will only knit for babies and for myself. Mostly because I don't have too many items that are just for me. So I'm becoming selfish now, and at least for the immediate future, I'm going to try to knit for myself. We'll see how long that lasts. This is Barocco Remix. It's 100% recycled fibers in the oatmeal color, and this color is showing up really well. It is 4.25 stitches to the inch, and I plan on making this. It's called the Aran Sweater for Baby, and it's in the Knitting for Baby book. So I've made this for my sister, for her daughter, when she was little, my niece. And it's got some buttons up here so you can get that big baby head into the sweater. But it's really a really fun knit. It's got garter stitch on the sleeves, and then it's got the cables coming down. I don't remember what's on the back. Maybe it's garter stitch on the back too. I don't remember. Anyway, that's what I'm making that out of. And I have it in my own project bag. So I love project bags, but I couldn't find what I wanted. And does this happen to you guys? You have a particular idea in your head and you can't find it. And so what I did was I bought some vintage feed sacks, and then I made my own project bag. And I love heavy duty zippers, so I put heavy duty zipper in there, and then I just put in my own fabric. And I love it because I can fit, well, let's see. I probably have 4 skeins of yarn in here. Made my gauge swatch. Let's see if I can show you what that looks like. I love that. I think I'm going to make it a bit smaller though. I'm not sure what needle I made this on. So I'm going to have to adjust that a little bit. Anyway, so I whipped up that project bag, and that's the baby item I'll be working on shortly. Also, I want to take part in the Mokey Yarns knit along. So if you guys don't know about Mokey yarns, I bought this particular yarn in Milwaukee at the Wild Haven Fiber Company. Hi, Kate. And this yarn is a very rustic wool yarn. It's done by a brother-sister team. Their roots are in Romania, and they wanted to make a sustainable yarn that reflected their ancestry. So once again, you can see I'm an oatmeal kind of girl, and I plan on using this. So my vision is another wardrobe staple. I want to make a basic t-shirt like, sweatshirt like sweater, something to wear with jeans on the weekend, kind of a loose collar, longer, maybe little oversized. I'm thinking 6 inches of ease perhaps. And I started poking around and looking at various patterns. One of the patterns that I might use is Gable by Hannah. Oops, stop the glare there. By Hannah Fettig. I love her patterns, and I'm always attracted to them. This one's called Gable. It's a round yoked pullover, and I think it's going to work really well with this Mokey yarn. The other thing about the Mokey, if I'm saying that right, Kate and I had a big conversation about how to pronounce it. So if it is, cut that out. So Kate and I had a big conversation about how to pronounce it. So my apologies if I'm saying it incorrectly. Anyway, it retains much of its lanolin. I mean, it's squishy, and it's got a great texture to it. So I'm trying to stop myself from casting that on. We'll see how long that lasts. But I'm going to have to do some configurations and some math, I think, before I attempt to make that entire sweater. I'm going to take a drink. It's a little late for tea and coffee for me, so I have water. Not too exciting. What else is going on? So I also wanted to talk about, I have several projects all going at the same time, not knitting wise, but now I have other things that I'm sewing. One of the things I'm sewing right now, or quilting, is the lemon and pepper pattern using Heather Ross fabric. And Heather Ross, if you don't know Heather Ross, she has really whimsical fabric lines. This one has tiny frogs, and let's see, and unicorns, if I can find a unicorn. Where is my unicorn? Oh, here's my unicorn. And unicorns. And so my plan was to make a summery quilt. Many of them are so personable. I really got a nudge by watching Opera Joe. So hi, Joanna. And watching Legacy Knits. Hi, Chelsea. Hi, Sue. And watching them in their very natural style and hearing their stories, it was really fun. And so it gave me a bit of a nudge to try this. We'll see where it goes. I also wanted to include being a librarian. I do like to read when I get the chance, although I will tell you that I do try reading audiobooks, and the audiobooks that work best for me are the ones where the readers have a lot of inflection to their voice. Sometimes I find myself kind of going, and before you know it, I've missed a whole chapter. So I did finish one book this summer, And here it is. It's called Ripper. This is a young adult YA novel, and it's by Stephen Petruka. And it's really good. Takes place in the late 1800s, about 1890, maybe early 1900s in New York City. Lots of history, lots of inventions. I think it would appeal to boys and girls. There's a great female character in it, although the primary character is a young man. And it takes place at a time when New York City is going through, you know, that big city metamorphosis. Roosevelt makes an appearance, the Pinkertons make an appearance, and of course, someone who was in London makes an appearance. So I highly recommend taking a look at that. So we've reached the end of my podcast. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it. Take the time to subscribe if you would like to be notified of my next episodes. And I've got my snack, homemade crunchy pickles. So enjoy. I hope you like the recipe I've attached, and I'll see ya.